quiet moments of this day, as the world outside continues to rush and demand more than the heart feels able to give, we pause. Here, in the stillness between responsibilities, notifications, and long to-do lists, we turn our attention to you. Many of us are waking up in cities filled with movement, long winters, busy streets, early mornings, and heavy thoughts. Some are preparing for work, others carrying concerns about finances, family, health, or decisions that feel too big to handle alone. Yet even here, in ordinary living rooms, small apartments, quiet offices, or lonely bedrooms, you are present. You are not distant from our routines or unfamiliar with our pressures. You see the bills on the table, the deadlines on the calendar, the uncertainty about tomorrow, and the silent prayers whispered while driving or lying awake at night. Today we choose to breathe slowly and remember that our lives are not sustained by our own strength alone. You are the God who sees beyond what is visible, who works beyond what we can measure, and who provides in ways our minds cannot predict. When fear tells us that resources are running out, that opportunities are scarce, or that we must carry everything by ourselves, you gently remind us that you are our source. Not a temporary solution, not a last resort, but the steady foundation beneath every season. Teach our hearts to rest again. Quiet the anxiety that tells us we must control everything. Open our eyes to trust you in this very moment, exactly as things are. If this prayer resonates with your heart, you may quietly agree, whisper Amen, or simply hold these words before God in silence. Loving Father, as we continue in this moment of prayer, we bring before you the invisible weight that so many carry each day. There is a kind of tiredness that does not settle in the body, but in the soul. The exhaustion of trying to hold everything together, of keeping appearances, of moving forward even when the heart feels anxious. Many have learned to live in constant alert mode, calculating every step, every expense, every decision, afraid of making a mistake or falling short. In a world that values performance, financial security, and total control, it becomes easy to forget that our true security does not come from what we accumulate, but from the one who cares for us. You know, Lord, the thoughts that rise in the quiet moments. What if it's not enough? What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose what I have? These thoughts often disguise themselves as responsibility, but many times they are rooted in fear. Today, we place all of this before you. We acknowledge that there have been moments when worry has spoken louder than faith, and even so, you do not turn away from us. Instead, you invite us to trust again. You are the God who sustains, who opens paths where we see no way, and who is not limited by human constraints. Teach us to change the way we see provision. May our eyes not be fixed only on what seems lacking, but be trained to recognize the daily care that already surrounds us. Every breath, every small deliverance, every door that has remained open until now is a sign of your faithfulness. Give us grateful hearts, able to see that even in times of uncertainty, you remain present, faithful, and at work in our lives. If these words reflect what you have been living, feel free to agree with God in silence, write Amen, or simply place this concern into His hands right now. Gracious God, in the spaces where answers feel delayed and clarity seems distant, we choose to remain here with you. Life does not always unfold in predictable ways. Plans shift, expectations change, and the paths we thought were certain sometimes grow quiet without explanation. Many listening now have prayed for specific outcomes, believing they knew how provision would arrive. Yet what they expected did not come, or came differently than imagined. In these moments, disappointment can quietly settle in, tempting the heart to assume you have gone silent. But we pause to remember a deeper truth. Silence is not absence, and delay is not denial. You often work beneath the surface, arranging what we cannot yet see. When familiar supports are removed, it is not to harm us, but to teach us dependence on you alone. You are not confined to one method, one door, or one resource. Your care flows through channels we could never plan or control. Help us to loosen our grip on the idea that provision must look a certain way. Replace rigid expectations with humble trust. Teach us to wait without bitterness and to hope without anxiety. Strengthen our faith in the unseen work you are already doing. Even when circumstances feel uncertain, remind us that you are steady, faithful, and fully aware of every need we carry. Let peace settle where questions remain unanswered, and let trust grow where fear once lived. We choose to believe that you are guiding each step, even when the road ahead is unclear. If this prayer echoes your experience, you may quietly respond with, Amen, offer a thought of gratitude, or simply rest these words before God for a moment. Faithful Lord, as we continue in this prayer, we acknowledge that many of our struggles are not only external, but internal. There are quiet battles fought in the mind, where thoughts of scarcity try to repeat themselves day after day. Voices that insist we are not enough, that we have not done enough, that tomorrow will be harder than today. In a culture that constantly compares, measures success by numbers, and values only what is visible, the heart can easily feel small, behind, or at a disadvantage. But today we choose to confront these lies with your truth. You are the God who is not limited by statistics, economic reports, or human forecasts. You know the full story, including the parts that have not yet unfolded. When the mind tries to fixate on fear of the future, teach us to bring it back to the present where your grace is already available. Help us not to live captive to what if, but grounded in the certainty of who you are. May every anxious thought be gently replaced with trust. May every comparison fade as we understand that each life moves according to a different time and purpose. Renew our way of thinking so that we may see provision not only as something material, but as complete care, emotional, spiritual, and daily. Teach us to recognize that even when we do not have everything we want, we already have everything we need for this moment. Give us discernment to see that your work is often quiet, steady, and deep, sustaining us day by day without spectacle, yet with perfect faithfulness. If these words speak to what you have been facing internally, feel free to agree in silence, write Amen, or simply place these thoughts into God's hands right now. Provider God, we lift our eyes beyond what surrounds us and remember that you are not confined by seasons, markets, or circumstances. While the world measures stability by trends and forecasts, you remain constant, unshaken, and faithful. Many who are praying now feel the pressure of uncertainty, changing costs of living, unexpected expenses, responsibilities that seem to grow heavier with time. It is easy to feel as though provision is fragile, as if one small change could cause everything to collapse. Yet you invite us to anchor our confidence not in what fluctuates, but in who never changes. Teach us to trust you one day at a time. Release us from the burden of carrying tomorrow before it arrives. Give us wisdom for today's decisions, patience for today's challenges, and peace for today's needs. Remind us that you have always provided at the right moment, not too early, not too late, but in perfect timing. When impatience rises, gently steady our hearts. When fear whispers urgency, draw us back into rest. Help us recognize the quiet ways you are already supplying what we need: strength to keep going, clarity for the next step, support through unexpected kindness, and hope that renews us each morning. May we become attentive to these daily mercies, understanding that provision is not always dramatic, but it is always deliberate. Shape our trust so that it grows deeper, steadier, and less dependent on visible proof. If this prayer meets you where you are today, you may respond with a quiet Amen, express gratitude for what God has already done, or simply remain still in His presence for a moment. God of wisdom, as we move deeper into this prayer, we acknowledge that true provision also includes guidance. Many are not only asking for resources but for direction, clarity about choices, courage to make changes, and discernment to know when to wait and when to move forward. There are crossroads before us, decisions about work, family, relationships, health, and purpose. The weight of choosing wisely can feel overwhelming, especially when the future feels uncertain. Yet you are the God who promises to lead, not confuse, to illuminate, not overwhelm. Teach us to listen for your gentle guidance in the midst of noise. Quiet the voices that rush us, pressure us, or push us into fear-based decisions. Help us to recognize your wisdom, which often comes as peace rather than urgency, as clarity rather than chaos. When the path ahead seems unclear, remind us that you guide step by step. We do not need to see the entire road. We only need to trust the next step you place before us. Grant us patience to wait when waiting is required, and courage to act when you open the door. Protect us from moving ahead of you out of anxiety, and from staying stuck out of fear. Shape our hearts to value obedience over certainty, trust over control. May we find rest in knowing that even our missteps are not beyond your ability to redeem and realign. If you are seeking guidance today, you may quietly say, Amen. Offer a simple prayer for wisdom or hold this decision before God in stillness. Lord of faithfulness, as we continue in prayer, we remember that your provision also reaches our inner life. Not every lack is visible to the eyes. Some shortages appear as discouragement, loneliness, loss of motivation, or weakened hope. There are days when the body keeps moving forward, but the heart feels empty, tired of fighting, tired of waiting. You know these quiet places of the soul, where words no longer come easily and faith feels small. Even so, you draw near with tenderness, not to demand strength, but to offer rest. Renew within us what time and disappointment have worn down. Breathe life where joy has diminished. Sustain us when emotions fluctuate and confidence feels fragile. Teach us that depending on you is not a sign of weakness, but of spiritual maturity. Help us learn to receive your care not only when everything is going well, but especially when we are vulnerable. May your presence be enough on the days when answers have not yet arrived. Help us recognize that your support often comes through people, conversations, small gestures, and simple moments of peace. May we not overlook these signs of care. Open our eyes to see that you are restoring strength little by little, rebuilding from within what no one else can see. Give us renewed hope to keep moving forward, even when the road feels long. If these words touch a weary place in your heart, you may quietly respond with Amen. Offer a simple request for renewal, or remain for a few moments in God's presence. God of abundance, we acknowledge that your provision is never meant to stop with us. What you place in our hands carries purpose beyond our own needs. Even in seasons when resources feel limited, you teach us that generosity is not measured by excess, but by trust. You invite us to live with open hands and open hearts, believing that what is shared in love is never wasted. In a world that encourages holding back and protecting self-interest, you gently form us into people who reflect your kindness. Shape our perspective so we see what we have as a gift, not a burden to guard. Teach us to recognize opportunities to encourage, support, and uplift others, sometimes through material means, sometimes through time, attention, or compassion. Remind us that a listening ear, a sincere prayer, or a simple act of care can be an expression of your provision flowing through us. As we give, let our hearts remain free from fear, trusting that you replenish what is poured out in faith. Help us resist the mindset that says there will not be enough if we share. Replace it with the assurance that you are the source, and your supply is faithful. May our lives quietly testify to your goodness as we become channels of grace in our homes, workplaces, and communities. Let generosity be formed in us not from pressure, but from gratitude for all you have already done. If this prayer stirs a desire to live with open hands, you may whisper Amen, reflect on where you feel led to give, or simply hold this intention before God for a moment. Sovereign Lord, as we approach the final moments of this prayer, we declare that no limitation is greater than your faithfulness. What to us appears as a barrier, a delay, or an impossibility is simply another place where your power can be revealed. So often we look at the surrounding landscape, the economy, our circumstances, our personal history, and conclude that there is no way forward. But you are not governed by circumstances. You are the God who creates paths where none existed, and who sustains us even when everything around us feels unstable. Help us break free from old beliefs that say things will always remain the same, that there is no solution, or that we have reached our limit. Teach us to see life from your perspective, where the impossible does not have the final word. May our faith not be based on what we see, but on who you are. When insecurity tries to paralyze us, remind us that you have already gone before us. When fear tries to define us, remind us that we are held by your hand. Strengthen us to walk with confidence, even without human guarantees. Teach us to rest in the truth that our future is not bound to present conditions, but anchored in your promise. May every anxiety about tomorrow be replaced with a quiet, steady trust. We declare that your provision remains active, constant, and sufficient, today, tomorrow, and in every season yet to come. If you feel led to surrender limitations, fears, or impossible situations to God, you may quietly agree with an amen, place this area before Him, or simply take a deep breath and trust. Faithful God, as we bring this time of prayer to a close, we rest in the assurance that you are already at work. What we have placed before you is not forgotten, delayed, or overlooked. You are attentive to every detail of our lives, the needs we have named aloud and the ones we could not find words for. We release the weight of outcomes into your hands, choosing trust over control and peace over worry. Today, we leave this prayer not with all the answers, but with a renewed confidence in your care. Carry these words into our everyday lives. Let this prayer shape how we think, how we decide, and how we respond to challenges. May we walk forward with a quiet awareness that we are not alone, not abandoned, and not responsible for carrying everything by ourselves. Remind us, again and again, that your provision is sufficient for each moment, and that your presence goes with us into whatever lies ahead. We receive your peace not as the world gives, but as a steady calm that guards our hearts and minds. May gratitude replace anxiety, and hope rise where fear once lived. As we continue our day, our week, and our journey, keep us anchored in the truth that you are faithful, you are present, and you are more than enough. If you would like, you may seal this prayer with a quiet amen, offer a word of thanks, or remain still in God's presence for a final moment.